What's the simplest skill that you've seen someone refuse to learn? General technology knowledge. Basic phone and computer tasks. I worked for a little while at a phone store and it always got under my skin how people refuse to listen to even the simplest explanations on basic functions. I get it. It's new and scary. But if you would only listen to this 3-step process, it will solve most of the problems you are bringing to me. Listening. It's surprising how many people just wait for the other person to stop talking. Also surprising how many others don't even wait that long. I was showing my elderly neighbor how to cut and paste on her laptop and she was like, "No, this is too complicated." It always baffles me how many people who, essentially, spend their entire life using Excel refuse to spend any time actually learning how to use Excel. Just Googling things. I feel like most people would get their problems solved if they just Googled their issue. Yes, there might be issues with this sometimes, but it's a skill like everything else. I used to work with a woman who called herself the paperwork queen. She would print out plans sent to us by builders, then rescan them in and save them. I tried telling her you could save the plans from her email straight into a folder, no printing and scanning required. She looked at me like I was crazy, and said she will do things her way and I'll do things mine. Cook even the most basic thing to feed his kids. He rather orders takeout. Reading. So many issues at my job are because people refuse to read labels and instructions. Yes, they are both read, they are still two different things. The printer needs paper. Says so right there. Open tray 2 and restock. Using more than one computer window at a time. Or even alt tabbing between them. Confidently own your mistakes honestly, be able to apologize without cowardice when necessary. Being courteous. Explaining things. If I explain something and someone tells me they don't understand, I explain it again, but frame or phrase it differently. I will never understand why so many people think just saying the exact same words again in a more exasperated, condescending tone is at all effective. Sneezing into your arm while in public. Basic car maintenance. I'm not talking oil change, headlights, air filters, etc. I'm talking how to air up tires, fill up washer fluid, check oil. Had an ex who didn't know how to do any of this and wouldn't let me teach him how because it's not necessary. Just the other day I interacted with a woman who absolutely refuses to learn how to tell time in the 24 hours format for no reason at all, just because. Turning down their phone volume. Which direction north, south, east and west are. Also how to read a map. If there's ever a disaster with our cell phone internet systems, there's going to be a bunch of lost sobs out there. Chewing with your mouth closed. Back in high school, some 20 years ago, a friend of mine was getting a new car for his graduation present. He chose a 2003 Mustang Cobra, the new supercharged one. Lucky guy, I decided to try and teach him to drive a stick shift. He wouldn't listen to instruction and kept stalling it, getting increasingly frustrated each time. Next day he decided he wanted a truck, instead. Cooking rice. Using your turn signal. I was once training a host to do Togo. I was showing him all the modifications on the tickets that print out and he said, and I quote, "Yeah. I'm not going to do that." Like bro. That's most of your job. What do you mean you won't do that? It's literally reading and putting together the things you've read. And he knows how to read. It didn't make any sense and he was put back into hosting. He also no longer works at the establishment. Basic math. Almost daily I have to explain things that most people should know if they ever sat in a math class for more than 5 minutes. Today I had to explain to someone multiple times and show how I came to the conclusion that 12 4 8. Reading. My younger brother is 10 now, absolutely refuses to even try reading. Uses text-to-speech and voice-to-text for everything he does. The difference between there. Paying bills online without mailing a check. Mom. Cooking. One of the oldest skills necessary for survival, and some people just can't be asked. Knowing how to use a microwave. Counting change. Copy and paste in Word. Wanna know how my coworker does this? He takes a sheet, writes down what he wants to copy and then types it into the new document. He refused to be shown the simpler way. To fold a clothes rack. He didn't even try, just looked at it and said, "I don't know how to do that." "You do it, honey." Learning how to search for YouTube videos. My mom will only watch recommended videos and never search for anything she wants to watch. Washing dishes and doing laundry. Googling stuff. Especially egregious when you're chatting online with someone. You know they could have just typed it into a search engine, but they want us to do it for them, and explain it to them, because they can't be asked. My dad won't learn to use a debt credit card. Yes, you read that correctly. No, I don't mean online or to withdraw cash at an ATM. He just won't learn to swipe the card. It's insane, and he makes my mom get him cash every week. I have no explanation, so please do not ask, lol. My uncle hates it whenever I Google something to get an answer to our disagreement, whether or not either of us is right. Apparently just reiterating that you're 100 right until it gets to the point of screaming in each other's faces is the real way to figure out who's right. Typing. We literally do it every day, and the majority of the world hunts and pecks. Relaxing. Life's too short to be worried every time. Take a break, people. Tying shoes properly. Bunny ears gang, rise up. Cooking. If you can read, you can cook. If you cannot read, you can observe and imitate. Parallel parking. It's me. I refuse to learn how to parallel park. Changing inputs on a TV. Changing batteries in TV remote. Changing light bulbs. Refusing to learn online banking. Got this new flatmate who never used online banking in his life. I offered to help him with the setup process, but he still won't do it. I am also his landlord and he never manages to send the rent on time. 2 and 2. Being able to type normally, like not hunt and peck shit. Drives me nuts. Said it, and just for anyone who I've seen mention you don't need to type, I agree, many jobs or people don't, but if your job is on a computer all day long entering any information, you do. Factory guys? Prob not. Kitchen staff? Same. LOL. My sister acknowledged that she's always been bad with checking in and reassuring people and admitted it's why she has no friends. But absolutely refuses to even try and work on it, even though she knows it hurts her relationships. For reference, this came up when I was diagnosed with a rare autoimmune condition and she still hasn't asked me how I'm going. Control-C and Control-V for copy and paste. Maybe not a skill, but basic knowledge. The number of adults who don't know the difference between to, and to. You're and your. It's embarrassing. You've been alive for how long, and you still haven't grasped the basics of the language that you've been speaking? I just assume you're stupid. Respect. Using a can opener. My husband refuses to learn how to use an automatic one because it's useless and slower, and my brother-in-law refuses to learn how to use a manual because it's old-fashioned. Reading. I would suggest people read whatever they like. BCUZ, it provides them indeed knowledge and information which are good for their understanding about the world. In fact, many people refuse to learn it though. Basic computer tasks. Some people of the older generations are afraid to do stuff even if the directions are right in front of them and the whole thing is foolproof so that even someone with room temperature IQ can't screw it up. I still order everything for my parents. Even moving out didn't change a thing besides the fact that I have to make sure I'm clicking the right address so it won't be sent to my place. As someone who works tech support, I will say making an informed decision. The screen tells the customer what to do, but they refuse to read the text until I literally have to tell them what to do. Do I press allow or deny? I can't make that decision for you. But here is what this feature does. One brief explanation later. So do I press allow or deny? Advanced Microsoft Excel. I'm amazed by the number of people that work in MS Excel every day but only learn the most basic functionality. I'm talking about people like well-paid finance people with decades of experience. Other dedicated purpose tools are becoming more common in all industries, so this is becoming less of an issue. Edit the question from the OP is about simple skills. These are still simple stuff if one works in a relevant field. Experience discomfort without shutting down. So many people abdicate basic responsibilities, or even go on attack mode, just because they can't handle a little temporary discomfort. I see it all the time, among people who claim to be adults. Putting the most basic of effort into fixing things that are broken. Most people just throw things away even if it just requires a 5-minute fix. No wonder we have such a garbage problem. Critical thinking. I won't associate with fucking ignorant losers. My district manager refused to learn how to make coffee in a coffee pot. She was very proud of the fact that she didn't know how. She felt it was beneath her to do such tasks. My company is in the process of paying me $700 and comping another for $500 to walk someone through Teams and incident report processes. My boyfriend refuses to read instructions. He throws all manuals away without reading them and tries to figure it out. Situational awareness, especially while driving. I live near the DC area and a majority of drivers will clump together and often will impede the flow of traffic. I drove with a friend who's from the DC area to an event. We were kinda on our own and then encountered other drivers and they just drove right along with them. Even decreased speed just to follow this group while the passing lane had no one in it. I about had a stroke. Hiding a body, come on guys, it's not that fucking hard. How not to be a total jerk. Seriously, the standards are pretty low. Don't hate people for being part of a group they didn't sign up to be a part of. Treat people like you would like to be treated. Don't take your anger out on someone innocent. Meet everyone according to their needs, or leave them be. Yet, people fail at this, or downright refuse to learn how to be better. Sweep the floor. It made me irrationally angry watching a 14-year-old have no idea how a broom worked and then bumbled around even after being shown. Probably the closest I ever came to wanting to beat a person to death with a stick. Driving. I know 250 men who refuse to learn to drive. One of them fell out with his MIL when she gave him driving lessons as a gift. He just expected his wife to do absolutely everything involving him and their children. Then the wife got a terrible degenerative illness and he expects his children to drive her. Learning how to wash your hair over the bath. She always got me to do it. I thankfully haven't seen it, but my friend had a roommate who refuses to flush the toilet no matter if it's number 1 or number 2. It's disgusting to live in the same dorm room as said person. I'm gonna quote my doctor here. You would be shocked by the number of people who never learn to properly wipe their own ass. Reading an annual